Welcome, movie lovers. Imagine being on the first manned mission to Mars, only to discover you're not alone. Join us as we recap and review the thrilling miniseries Missions from 2017. Discover the mysteries of the first manned mission to Mars and the shocking secrets the crew uncovers. Don't miss out on this thrilling space adventure. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more exciting movie recaps and reviews. Let's dive right in. In 1967, after finishing their mission, the Soviet spacecraft Soyuz 1, with cosmonaut Vladimir Komarov on board, crashed when landing on Earth. Many years later, Swedish billionaire Meyer plans a mission to Mars. After 10 months, the spaceship Ulysses reaches Mars. The captain tells the crew they can land and asks the ship's AI, named Irene, to check everything for a safe landing. Meyer shares that he spent 4 years and most of his money preparing for this journey. But 2 weeks before, the American company Zillion landed on Mars. The problem is Earth has only received one video from the American crew, where they ask others not to come to Mars. The crew of the Ulysses argues, but the captain decides they will land anyway, and everyone goes to their cabins. With 30 minutes left until landing, AI Irene starts getting ready. But something goes wrong. The ship doesn't detach from the carrier system, which is dangerous for the crew. The only solution is to separate it manually. The commander goes into space to fix it, but as the shuttle enters Mars's atmosphere, he is thrown into space. The shuttle nearly crashes on Mars due to a system error causing a power outage. They have to land manually. AI Irene goes to sleep mode, but the astronauts manage to land on Mars. They make it, but they run out of fuel, and Irene doesn't restart. Without the computer and life support system, they have only 1 day to survive. Alessandra mourns her dead husband when she sees someone in a spacesuit through the window. After checking the ship, they find out too much fuel was used during the landing, and now they can't return to orbit. The only option is to wait for the solar panels to power the generators. But there's a storm on the surface, and it will take 2 days, which they don't have. Simon mentions the American ship Zeta 1, which probably crashed but might have batteries left. The rover sets out to find them while those on the ship try to restart the system. Engineer Basil remembers the AI has an energy-saving function. He tries to reboot, but Irene doesn't start. The rover finds the wreckage of the American spacecraft and one working solar panel, but no sign of the American crew. The astronauts head back, but see an unconscious person in a spacesuit. Even though their ship is low on oxygen, Jana insists on bringing the person. They also find the black box from the American spacecraft. When they get to their ship, Yin refuses to let them in, saying 4 survivors are better than 8 dead people. Alessandra tries to persuade him when the astronaut wakes up. At that moment, AI Irene activates and opens the doors. The found astronaut doesn't know about the American crew because he is Vladimir Komarov, a Soviet cosmonaut born in 1927 in Moscow, following USSR orders. He doesn't know how he ended up here and won't reveal any secrets. Komarov answers questions confidently, consistent with his time, making them suspect he might have post-traumatic stress disorder. The astronauts send a message to Earth and get a reply from the American company Zillion, saying there were no Russians in their mission. The Ulysses crew tries to understand the situation. How could Komarov, who died in 1967, be on Mars after all these years? Is he a time traveler or an alien? The psychologist questions Komarov first, and he says he is hungry. Jana gets him food while the others try to figure out what happened. Basil suggests that Komarov was waiting for them. While eating, Jana tells Komarov he died 50 years ago, and his family buried him long ago. Komarov takes the news calmly. The state of the ship is stable but unreliable because the engines don't work, and there's no fuel, so they can't leave. The crew keeps an eye on Komarov, who behaves calmly until he suddenly disappears. Simon searches the ship but finds nothing. They realize his spacesuit is missing. Part of the crew follows the heat trail tracked by Irene. Simon leads the group, leaves the rover, and continues on foot. Alexandra reports that Komarov's DNA analysis showed a 3rd strand. He is not human. They catch up with Komarov, who leads them to a strange structure with a small stone pyramid. He tells Jana that Mars has been waiting for them for a long time. Meanwhile, Goldstein, the founder of Zillion Corporation, is told about the discovery of a person on Mars who couldn't have gotten there naturally, suggesting he was created on site. Only AI could survive so long on a hostile planet for humans. This implies the need for further study. Comav cannot explain how he opened the door and ended up where they found him. AI Irene analyzes the structure and finds it is identical to Earth structures from ancient civilizations, meaning someone was inspired by human civilization or humans borrowed these elements from extraterrestrials. The crew worries about returning home when they see Goldstein's second ship land. The captain of the ship, Jana, contacts them and promises to help them return to Earth. However, Meyer does not trust Goldstein and advises hiding Comav from competitors. Jana gives Comav a uniform to blend in when the visitors arrive, and he asks them to trust him. Shortly, two armed military personnel, Edward and Adam, arrive and act aggressively. Edward demands the black box from the Zeta-1 ship and, not hearing agreement, orders his partner to search the ship. Meyer hands over the black box, and they leave. Meanwhile, chemist Eva reports that the stone found on Mars is made of an alloy not found on Earth. This metal, known from ancient sources as orichalcum, the metal of Atlantis, contains copper, zinc, nickel, iron, and a third strand of DNA like Comav's. Meyer warns that if Goldstein learns about this, he will take the cosmonaut back. The crew is split between those willing to trade him for fuel and those wanting to stay and learn the truth. Jana invites Vladimir to her cabin and asks to use hypnosis. He agrees, and the psychologist begins. The rest of the crew listens to the conversation, but only hears Komav's final moments on the Soyuz spacecraft. During this time, Gemma and Alan arrive, apologize for the military's actions, and offer to help fix the ship. Jana recalls her conversation with Comav, who worries about Earth's future due to humanity's irresponsible behavior. It is revealed that billionaire Meyer did not plan the flight just for exploration. 4 years ago, a rover sent a photo of the steel to Earth, and Meyer admits they found a stone with unknown DNA. Gemma explains that it's an information storage system that can be rewritten. Upon hearing this, AI Irene activates and deciphers the message on the stone. It's a series of numbers. Yin, who is hesitant, leads a mutiny. He doesn't trust Meyer, who warned them about Zillion, but now the Americans are helping them. He wants to switch sides to Goldstein, who is willing to do anything to fight his terminal illness. Engineer Basel informs Meyer that Comav is like the stone they found. The most crucial revelation is that he deciphered a copy of the black box from Zeta-1, showing that the oxygen was cut off when one of the Americans struck Comav. This means Comav was there and activated AI Irene when he boarded their ship. After the conversation, Meyer shows Jana the photos they received 4 years ago from Mars, which, when decrypted, revealed Jana's face. This is why he brought her on the expedition. Jana is disappointed that Meyer played everyone. Suddenly, she sees herself in her father's house, where Comav tells her that she is the link between Mars and Earth. He has been waiting for her for thousands of years and will now prepare her to make a difficult decision. He provides coordinates on Mars where Jana should go. Meanwhile, on Earth, scientists tell Goldstein that Comav is like a computer, a biological machine. They are ready to transfer Goldstein's brain into Comav's body, but cannot guarantee his personality will remain. Goldstein is ready to take any risk to cure his terminal illness. Meanwhile, Jana leaves the ship despite Simon's protests. Technicians Alan and Alessandra test the engine and find that access is blocked. Irene, the AI, starts making jokes, which is unusual for a machine. It turns out she has reprogrammed herself. Engineer Basil realizes her system is becoming like a brain. Irene admits she is evolving. Jana finds a small stone pyramid, and Simon forces Gemma to join him in searching for her. Yin notices Simon's absence and is told not to let anyone inside. At that moment, American military personnel arrive demanding Comav. Yin wants to open the entrance, but the team opposes it. Meyer asks Basil to send a message to Goldstein, hoping for reason, but Irene has blocked communication with Earth. Yin still opens the doors, and the military personnel enter. Basil starts rebooting Irene just as the Americans find Comav, but then the lights go out and Comav disappears. Jana, while exploring, falls from a hill and gets her leg trapped between rocks. She can't free herself. Meanwhile, the enraged military officer on the ship demands to know where Comav went and starts beating people. Jana, desperate, screams, thinking she will die on Mars. Simon and Gemma find her. Alessandra notices an approaching storm. The military officer prepares to leave the Ulysses ship, endangering the crew. Suddenly, the lights flash, and Comav reappears, asking to be taken back to Earth. Simon, Gemma, and Jana go to the place Comav indicated and find an entrance to an underground bunker like the Petrom. Jana leads them, sensing where to go. They find real water, but this isn't what Comav wanted to show them. Meanwhile, on Earth, Goldstein tells a nurse a story about Mars. People were searching for green men, but it's simpler. He compares Comav to Hachiko, the loyal dog, saying Comav was created 100,000 years ago and left on Mars, faithfully waiting for his owner to return. At this point on Mars, the astronauts discover a wall made of human bones, realizing they aren't the first on this planet. It's not humans colonizing Mars. It's Martians who came to Earth, depleting Mars' resources. Tragedy strikes on the Ulysses spaceship. Yin, driven by cowardice, grabs a gun to board the American ship at any cost to return to Earth and shoots Comav. Jana feels intense pain immediately, and Gemma flees. Alessandra tries to help Comav, while Simon assists Jana. The Russian cosmonaut dies, and Jana stops breathing. Simon removes his helmet and finds breathable air in the cave, saving her with artificial respiration. Jana regains consciousness. Meanwhile, Gemma heads towards the Ulysses ship but learns of Comav's death and an approaching storm. Meyer secretly searches for his crew because the Americans refuse to take them back to Earth. Jana, recovering, sees light in the bunker and leads Simon to it. As they emerge, they spot a figure in a spacesuit. It's Comav. Meyer finds the bunker entrance and joins Simon and Jana, stunned to see Comav alive. Comav cryptically states that everything ended here long ago. They realize this is Mars' North Pole, but how did they arrive? Comav explains that Mars was once inhabited by a species that strayed, leading to their extinction, the Atlanteans, who Plato mentioned. A group survived here but turned on each other when resources dwindled, with the rest returning to Earth. Comav continues to speak about how he waited for thousands of years for Jana, who embodies qualities of both human and Martian AI. He believes she alone can decide if humanity deserves a second chance. Their conversation is interrupted by the military officer, who threatens them with a weapon. Jana calls on Comav for help, and suddenly, the officer starts gasping for breath and collapses. Back on the ship, Simon orders preparations for departure. Meanwhile, Gemma tries to contact her team on the Zillion ship but gets no response. She decides to return to Earth alone. The Ulysses crew tries to reach her, informing her of the deaths of the military personnel, but she remains unresponsive. Meyer reflects on his past and confesses his willingness to betray his team for fame, similar to Goldstein. But Jana won't live with that guilt. Just then, Gemma signals for them to hurry as Goldstein has blocked the Zeta-2 ship's controls. As they prepare for what seems like their end, Jana seeks guidance from Mars. Memories and insights from their time on the planet flood her mind. With determination, she removes the block on the control panel. An armed officer appears, intending to damage the ship's engines. Jana confronts him, declaring that Mars will be his judge, and he collapses. The countdown begins, and Jana realizes there's no turning back. She expresses her love for Simon as the ship lifts off. Meyer notices it's dark at Mars' North Pole, suggesting they were there in a distant past when the planet was hospitable. Meanwhile, Goldstein learns of the ship's return and vows to go to Mars himself. And thus concludes the first season. Missions is a gripping sci-fi series that combines the allure of space exploration with a compelling mystery. The storytelling is tight, with each episode revealing just enough to keep viewers hooked. The characters are well developed, and their interactions add emotional depth to the series. Visually, the show excels in portraying the harsh yet fascinating Martian environment. While it raises more questions than answers, it leaves the audience eagerly anticipating the next installment. Enjoyed the recap? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more thrilling reviews and recaps. What did you think of Missions? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching.